Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Computer America Show. Ben and I have a terrific show planned for you here on the program, and we look forward to having you here with us on the program again in our new daytime time slot, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. And we're going to do computer and technology news in the first hour. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And then in the second hour, Reviversoft is here with us. Mark Baer, who is the Vice President of Research and Development for Reviversoft, is going to be here. And
1 minute until showtime.
So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we begin 2 hours of Computer America. Ben, should I boot the second image? It just says CA on there because it's not going away.
If it's bothering you.
No, I'll leave it alone. I'm afraid if I eject that, it'll eject you. "20 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome to the middle of the week. And here we are again in our new time slot, 3 to 5. And you see that nice bright shadow see on my face? That's sunlight. That's right. We are on now during the day on the program. After doing some 20-some-odd years at nighttime, we've finally moved to our new daytime schedule. You see, even on Ben's face, look how shiny it is. It's the sun.
Thank you.
So, we are here joining, and we're going to have a really good show on the program. If you want to talk to us or our guests, we invite you to give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881, and that'll get you on and get you through. Email also. We don't have email, but if you want to go on the air but you're radio shy, you don't want to speak, every page at ComputerAmerica.com, the internet home of our radio talk show, on the upper right-hand corner says submit a question. And you just click that. It'll take you to our question submission page, and you can type in your question. And Ben and I will see it immediately, so we can ask your question on the air if you want to interact with us. It's just another nice thing to do. Of course, you can also watch the show. What? He just said watch? Yes. I thought he was a radio talk show. He is. But also, that's my Jim Gaffigan impression. If you want to...
It wasn't even close.
I know, but I tried. If you want to watch us, we have live streaming video. Just go to ComputerAmerica.com. Just click on the show lounge. It's on our pull-down menu on any page, and that will take you to our live video streaming page. It'll just begin automatically, and you can watch the show. You can see myself. You can see Ben, sometimes your guests. And Ben also has the technology to display websites, movies, videos. So he can do that as well, and you can check that out at ComputerAmerica.com. So we have that. We have that. Also, places you can listen to the show. You can just go to our website, and you'll see there on our homepage a link that it says interact with the show. Well, actually, interact with the show is not the one. You want the one where it says about us. and you can go to syndication, and you can see all the places you can listen to the show live, and all the places you can listen to the show archived. That's right, we archive our audio and video, so you can listen to us and you can watch us. And you can, and if you find the 3 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday is an inconvenient time, then you can just download the video or download the audio. You can do either. And also, we have some new places now you can listen to the show. We're now on SoundCloud, carries the show, and Stitcher also carries Computer America. So you, in addition to all the other traditional sources like iTunes and Blog Talk Radio and the IRN Radio Network and the TuneIn Radio Network, all the different places are there at computeramerica.com. So I think that's everything before we start our news. Anything else you want to mention?
Oh, no, nothing that leaps to mind.
Check your aim, by the way. And
I don't even have aim.
Oh, yeah, you do. I just, oh,
You never know.
yeah.
Anywho,
I just sent you something important on aim. Okay.
I'm sure you did.
Yes.
It's always important.
Yep. All right. So we're going to start doing computer and technology news right now. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. slimwareutilities.com.
All right, and I think I'll let you handle the first story.
Sure. Okay. This is from Maximum PC, Paul Lilly. He wrote this article. Microsoft releases Office 2016 with co-authoring capability. It's finally here. Yes. All right. I'm so glad. Yes, that everybody's happy. Now, here he talks about getting acclimated to a new Office. All right. And what could be the most important update ever to Microsoft's popular productivity suite, Office 2016 for Windows is now available. And this was announced actually yesterday. The new Office suite puts a much bigger emphasis on collaboration than ever before, which is really nice. I mean, because look, we live in a mobile world, and obviously you want people to collaborate with you. And that was one of the top things that they wanted here. And so the collaboration, one of the key ways it does this collaboration is through real-time co-authoring, which is now built directly into Microsoft's native apps. Real-time co-authoring has been available in Microsoft web apps since 2013, but now here it is in regular Microsoft Office 2016. Now, when another project participant makes an update in Word, you'll see what's being written as it happens. It's live. And that's very nice. Now, it's a lot like with Google, with Google Calendar, Google Docs. You actually see it. It's a live document. When people make changes, you actually see it. And so now Microsoft Office is offering something very, very similar to that. Now, to go along with co-authoring support, Skype for Business is now available in the client apps, which is a nice thing. Okay. This allows you to instant message, screen share, talk, or video chat right within your docs. You don't have to go to some other client. You can also start a real-time co-authoring session from any conversation or meeting. Now, another feature geared toward collaboration is Office 365 Groups. It's available as part of Outlook 2015 and in a new Outlook Groups app in iOS, Android, and Windows Phone. So each group includes a shared inbox, a shared calendar, shared cloud storage, and a shared OneNote notebook. These are just some of the many new features included in Microsoft's standalone productivity suite. Some of them are specific to the enterprise segment, including built-in data loss prevention and multi-factor authentication. That's all for security reasons, obviously. In a related note, Microsoft also released Office 2016 for the Mac as a standalone release. And previously, this was only available to Office 365 customers. Okay. And finally, Microsoft is promising ongoing value for Office 365 subscribers. So going forward, Office 365 customers will now enjoy new features and capabilities delivered continuously in the Office desktop applications as part of their subscription. It's a new day for our desktop apps, according to Microsoft. So here's how much does it cost? Well, a one-time purchase of Office Home and Student 2016 is $150. And if you're an Office 365 Home, that's $10 a month, or Personal, $7 a month subscriber, you can install Office 2016 apps at no additional cost. So there you go. It's here, finally. Office 2016.
Right, and they said it was available like now.
Yes, it is available right now.
Oh. That came out sooner than I thought it would.
Why? When did you expect it to come out?
I don't know. Later towards the holidays. I know it's not really a holiday gift kind of item, but still, I would have sworn that they were going to put it out, further to the end of the year. But hey, nice to see it, I guess. And of course, as Ralph Bond said last time he was on, that even though they are releasing a new version, if you sign up for Office 365, like even Microsoft has been wanting you to, you don't even have to worry about it. You get all these updates for quote unquote for free. As long as you subscribe to the service, you will have the latest Microsoft Office.
Good.
So
and again, this just points out what a great idea Office 365 is, because it is basically, when you have it, your subscription always ensures that you're running the latest version. It just gets pushed to you. You don't even really know it. It's just there. So
right, and I can see why Microsoft likes it too, because then they get a reliable income source rather than wondering if, what if the majority of the population out there is going to skip this iteration of Office? Then we spent all this time working on it, all this money, all these resources, and 3 out of 10 people don't even upgrade. That's a lot of wasted effort. So with the Office 365, they get a reliable revenue stream. They would actually prefer it. Yes, they still do, obviously, the 2016 and the yearly releases, but that's for a different segment of the market than I think than they're hoping for gives them that subscription fee. Which again, we are starting to live in a world where everything is subscription. It's a relatively small subscription, but as Craig points out so often, they start to add up. But that's just the world we live in, where people would prefer to spend $8, $10, $15, $20 a month rather than having to pay, $400 up front, or some $60 up front, or whatever it is. People like subscriptions. So Microsoft definitely got out ahead of that one. That's good. All right. So next news story we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about, all right, we had this one yesterday, and here's a little follow-up to it, in that Volkswagen, they did some seedy stuff with their diesel cars, their diesel engines, and that has led to a lot of drama. Like, 20% of the stock tanking immediately. It's just not good. People have to go through recalls, and hundreds of thousands of cars have to go in for servicing now. Just not good. Well, I think we all kind of saw this one coming because it happened under his tenure, but the Volkswagen CEO resigns over emissions scandal.
But he's not claiming that he's at fault for any of it. He's just doing
He's not claiming, but at the same time, they have a quote here. He is, quote, stunned that misconduct on such a scale was possible. So I guess, like every good captain of a ship, he sees a problem and he throws up his hands and he jumps overboard and says, "Wow, look at that. That's crazy." And he runs, I guess.
Well, remember, I mentioned that to you. I said before I read this, I said, I can't imagine this kind of thing. I can understand maybe a couple of people, who were doing this stuff, but on such a scale, that was the thing. I said, so many people were involved. It was hard to believe that something like that could actually happen.
Exactly. This is more of a company policy, but again, he has his letter here, or at least a nice little snippet that he published online, and it reads, quote, "I am shocked by the events of the past few days. Aren't we all? Above all, I am stunned that misconduct on such a large scale was possible in the Volkswagen Group.
Yeah.
As CEO, I accept responsibility for the irregularities," oh, that's good, "that have been found in diesel engines, and therefore request the supervisory board to agree on terminating my function as CEO of the Volkswagen Group. I am doing this in the interest of the company, even though I'm not aware of any wrongdoing on my part.
Yep. See?
Those two seem kind of contradictory.
Mm-hmm.
I, as CEO, am accepting responsibility for the irregularities that have been found. And at the same time, he says, I am not aware of any wrongdoing on my part.
Yep.
Those two don't drive. But Volkswagen needs a fresh start. Also, in terms of personnel, I'm clearing the way for fresh air. For this fresh start with my resignation. I have always been driven by my desire to serve this company, especially our customers and employees. Volkswagen has been, is, and always will be my life. The process of clarification, and transparency must continue. This is the only way to win back trust. I am convinced that the Volkswagen Group and its team will overcome this grave crisis.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, for anyone who didn't remember, this whole thing started with a quote-unquote clean diesel that they promised in their Golf, Jetta, Beetles, and Audis.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them were produced between 2009 and 2015, though each one of these cars included some software that as soon as it was plugged into the testing equipment, it would show cleaner than it actually was. But when it hit the road, it was 40 times the EPA limit. So this thing just was software put in place to just lie every single time. So up to 11 million Volkswagens had this cheating mechanism installed, and the company has set aside over $7 billion for damages.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
So I guess the whole thing was that they proposed this clean diesel innovation, and they said, hey, look how clean our diesel is, and it was so award-winning and great, but they really couldn't live up to their promise. I guess it just didn't work in the real world, and so they invented the software to trick the testing machines to make it look like their quote-unquote innovation had actually happened. So that whole thing, CEO resigned.
Yep.
Just a horrible ordeal for Volkswagen all around.
Yeah. Yeah, you wonder how long this is going to affect, how long.
Yeah, I mean, $7 billion, if that doesn't seem like a lot when we're talking about companies that are multinational, but $7 billion is a lot of money, and I'm sure a lot of profits at the end of the year. It's going to be a huge blow for Volkswagen.
Oh.
But at the same time, the CEO says he didn't do it, but somewhere, some point in that company, and I'm not saying it wasn't the CEO, but someone at some point in that company said, all right, let's do this. We can get away with it.
Well, speaking of stories that we just did, a follow-up to it, there was another one that was also just as kind of mind-shaking. We did a story about this kid who was basically, he developed
Hashtag I stand with Ahmed.
Ahmed, yes, exactly. He developed a clock for
A homemade clock.
And one of his teachers suspected it was a bomb, reported it, and the kid was arrested. You see him in handcuffs in the picture. And the backlash that came out from that, because he's a smart kid, he's a little, nerdy kind of.
I went to school, and I know exactly 0 kids that came in with their homemade clock.
Right, exactly, and the outcry and the support for him was amazing. I mean, he got invitations from the president to come bring your clock to the White House. I'd love to see it. Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg said, hey, stop on by. We'd love, I'd like to talk to you and meet you. I mean, all this. And as a follow-up of this story from Popular Science, Carl Franzen said, young inventor Ahmed Mohammed meets Google's co-founder and heads to the White House. So there he is. There's a picture with him with Sergey Brin. Ahmed Mohammed's got his arm around his shoulders. They're taking a picture together at the Google Science Fair. And again, the story says it was just over a week ago that 14-year-old student Ahmed Mohammed was arrested for bringing a homemade clock to a school in Irving, Texas, after school officials suspected it could be a bomb. Since then, the young inventor's life has taken a turn for the better and more bizarre. People around the web offering an outpouring of support for him on social media under the I Stand With Muhammad hashtag. And numerous big names in science, technology, and politics invited him to visit with them. So now it appears that those big names are following through on their innovations.
That's good to see.
Yeah, last night, Muhammad posted a tweet from his official Twitter account showing him in attendance at the Google Science Fair, smiling and standing beside Google co-founder Sergey Brin. There's it. And there it is. His Twitter actually says, "Thanks, Google, for saving me a seat at Google Science Fair. Amazing projects and people." Okay. And then to follow them today, Muhammad will also follow up another tweet, including his next stop would be the White House, following President Obama's early invitation to come by. He says, and his tweet to that was, he said, Muhammad said, "I can't wait to get my clock back and take it to the White House to show Barack Obama the invite is an honor. Looking forward to meeting you." Now, his father said the family would travel to New York on Wednesday to visit with UN officials, again, according to The Guardian. An online crowdfunding campaign started by his supporters to provide a scholarship for him and other minority students interested in the STEM fields, that's science, tech, engineering, and math, has also continued to raise money and is now up to $14,000, though it remains well shy of its $100,000 goal. Of course, there are still 21 days left in the fundraising project. Now, the controversy surrounding Ahmed's arrest has quieted since last week, but the accusations of racism and Islamophobia on the part of his school officials and local police still linger. Muhammad, for his part, previously announced he would be switching schools as well, presumably after he gets back from the trip. He formally withdrew from his old school, MacArthur High School, today. Still, the major show of support by leading tech companies and politicians is a reassuring sign that Americans still value curiosity and want to encourage scientific exploration in young minds. So there it is.
I got to tell you, it's good that he's being called out to the White House, and it's good that Sergey Brin was and Google were able to get him out there to be at the Google Science Fair, and it's good that all this is happening, especially the college fund and everything. But
yes,
I still feel like he should take either the school district or the police precinct to court. I mean, what they did to him was just dehumanizing.
I wonder what the teacher who did that to him, what he said.
The teacher, may have raised some alarm bells, but for the police to clearly see what it was and to take him and then keep his parents from seeing him for 3 hours while they question him alone, which is, by the way, unconstitutional, is just so like, that's either incompetence or just mean. It's one or the other.
Well, I think they did it under the National Security Act?
No, they did not have that at all.
Mm.
They did not have that right at all.
Okay.
So again, it's good that all this is happening, but hopefully the legal fight that will undoubtedly ensue, hopefully that goes well for him as well.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we just got a new batch of stories in, and they are all over the place. Though I think I want to do this one. This is from Popular Science, and it's going to be a very interesting topic as we move forward as a civilization, of course, in that we've already been considering sending people to Mars, and even NASA has plans to make that happen by the year 2035, and not just send people to Mars, but to also retrieve them. But of course, after you send people to Mars and you retrieve them, the next thing that you can hope for is, because Mars is, let's face it, a whole nother planet and not just a little moon, we can only hope that sending people to Mars and bringing them back leads to permanent colonization or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that is the dream. So as humans start to get our grubby little fingers all over this solar system that we have, there's another thing that has been bantered around, and yes, there's there's already some legislation, overseeing it, and that is mining asteroids, mining in space, and the legality of it all. Because again, this is space. This is not, this is not within the domain of the U.S. This is not within Russian borders. This is not within the jurisdiction of Germany. This is, hey, this is space. It should belong, we should consider, to everyone. But legislation that is going through the Senate by the end of this month actually pass, says that, hey, maybe private companies can own space objects, asteroids, for the purpose of mining.
All right.
So yeah, so resources may be the only thing that can lure us from the comforts of Earth. Mining for lunar water could make it up to 90% cheaper to colonize the moon, and extracting platinum and other minerals from asteroids could propel mankind beyond low Earth orbit, where we currently are sitting happy with our International Space Station. So here's where two companies, Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industries. By the way, if you didn't think we were living in the future, there are currently not one, but two companies that plan to mine asteroids.
Really?
They're already established. They have a logo, and they probably have a website. They plan to mine asteroids. So they already, and one of them has already launched a simple test vehicle into low Earth orbit, with more planned. So, yeah, but before all this, they need to clear some major legal obstacles, and they do have something called the Outer Space Treaty, where the U.S., Russia, and a number of other countries have signed. Specifically states that nations can't own territory in space. They have a quote here. Outer space shall be free for exploration and use by all states, the treaty says. Outer space is not subject to national appropriation by claim of sovereignty, by means of use or occupation, or by any other means.
So when they planted the flag on the moon, remember how we did that? You're saying all that?
If anything else, that was more littering. Like that was not claiming the moon for the U.S.
Yeah.
By the terms of the treaty, that was more, hey, we left some stuff up there that we should probably go get and, put away our toys. If nothing else. So, they have a space law professor at the University of Nebraska, who knew we had those, saying that it depends on our interpretation of certain rather than broad statements in the Outer Space Treaty, and it depends on our particular interest. So in May, the House of Representatives passed a bill that would give asteroids mining companies property rights to minerals they extract from space. Called the Space Act of 2015, the bill now awaits Senate decision. So if the decision isn't made by the end of September, an expiring moratorium will give the Federal Aviation Administration permission to begin regulating commercial spaceflight, something that they've wanted to postpone so that fledgling industry could have some more time to grow. So, what does all that mean? That means that if this whole Space Act of 2015 goes through the Senate, that means that at the end of the day,
yes,
that means that at the end of the day, people will be able to start companies, capture asteroids, mine them, and then keep the resources that they extracted from them. Which sounds well and good, but at the same time is in clear conflict with the Outer Space Treaty, which says that outer space is not subject to national appropriation by claim of sovereignty, by means of use or occupation, or by any other means, which is clear that, do we consider asteroids and other objects that we kind of, pull into, I'm sure, Earth's orbit and then extract minerals from and then keep those minerals, do we consider that part of outer space, or is that now, just materials? So Craig, I thought I'd like to get your take on all this.
I think this is interesting, but I think it is coming way too soon. Certainly it could be laying the foundation for space law, but I think it's going to be decades before any of this really. And then
certainly not. Certainly not.
Yeah, and not only that,
certainly not decades, because they by 2018 we're going to capture our first asteroid and mine it.
All right, but I'm saying when none of this will come to fruition until finally it gets, something happens, somebody does something that they're not supposed to, obviously a big corporation or something, and it'll be and then there'll be court cases that they'll take it to court. Well, we own this, and no, and that's how all this starts, especially with new law like this. This is all new law.
But you can see where something like outer space, again, this is beyond any kind of Earth law. This is beyond, if you enter this state, then you got this and this going on. This is a place where you may not have sovereignty of anything. They're trying to be proactive rather than reactive, because I think reactive is going to be hard to do when they're in outer space.
I think it's going to be hard to enforce, quite frankly. It's just
it's better to have the rules on the books than to try to write them after the fact.
Well, we'll see what happens as it starts to get hashed out.
We'll see. That's all you got? All right.
It's hard to answer. I mean, really, it's
a head scratcher. That's kind of why I brought it up.
Hey, listen, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back. You'll listen to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are doing Computer Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. We got a news tips bulletin review coming up as well. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. I want to tell you something about VTech. They always have the coolest telephone systems around. VTech's new 4-line small business phone system, the perfect solution for small business owners that need to install a phone system that has qualities and features that have previously only been available for companies with bigger budgets. First of all, this new system is the most affordable and easy to install 4-line phone system on the market. Its components allow the system to grow alongside a business, up to 10 extensions that can be located anywhere. The 4-line small business phone system also comes equipped with a number of advanced features, such as auto attendant for each line, a digital answering machine with mailboxes for every extension, full duplex speakerphones, music on hold, power failure operation, 6-way conferencing, and much, much more. The VTech 4-line small business phone system is available in stores and online at Office Depot, Office Max, and Staples, as well as online at www.vtechphones.com. Tell them I sent you.
Hey, I said bombast, not dumb. Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America, this time Swiss Plus Tech Tools. Some multi-tools have cutouts as wrenches, stubs as screwdrivers, and so on. Swiss Plus Tech sent a motherload. Their 15-in-1 Megamax has 8 wrench sizes, 10 drivers, a nail puller, a pry bar, and an LED flashlight, all in the size of a Chiclets pack. The carabiner-shaped Micro Slim SDX has wrenches, drivers, a bottle opener, a safety blade, and a key ring quick release. Their key-shaped Mobile Tech Charge Sync has a USB-A one end, a lightning on the other, and a flashlight in the body. Bodyguard Elite for the car has a talking tire gauge, a tread depth tracker, glass breaker, seatbelt cutter, red blinker, loud alarm, and an LED flashlight. Bottom line, agility across the Swiss Plus Tech multi-tool line makes them all notable and totable. Marty Winston with News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. We're doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. And yeah, we're just going over some of the news stories of the day, including this one that we just finished up, I think, about mining asteroids and what that could mean for companies, because, you know, there's a law going through the Senate, and this is going to become a real issue in the coming years, because as science fiction as it may sound, there, you know, with the advent of companies like SpaceX and other private and commercial and otherwise, you know, spacefaring companies, this, you know, mining asteroids is the next logical step. So it's something that we definitely have to think about as a society.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone wants, like, you know, oh, hey, we mine this asteroid, and since it belongs to everyone, we have divided it into 7.3 billion equal parts. Stop by your local post office to pick up a piece of your asteroid.
Yeah.
I don't think that they want that to happen either. So, you know, they're going to figure it out, and hopefully for the better.
I think
But
in the future we're just going to have a federation like in Star Trek, and they'll
you know, as cheesy and as the effects were in Star Trek, the writers really did put some thought into just what a future society would be like when you aren't the only thing out there anymore.
Well, before we go on to this next story, we had a question or just a comment, and maybe we can check into it from our submitted question. And this is the question is, I've read that the batterizer is falsifying their statistics. Let's just like the VW. I guess that was the motivation for the Volkswagen story. The batterizer is that little device that you put on. You put a battery into it, and then you put it so thin that you can also put the battery back into the battery compartment of whatever electronic device you have, and it's supposed to increase the battery longevity on the charge that's in there by utilizing all of the charge. And now, according to our listener Jonathan, he says that that he's read that the batterizer is falsifying their statistics. So we will look into that. Okay, for you, Jonathan. In the meantime, we're doing computer technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. And this next story is from.
Whoa, wait. I'm sorry, I wasn't here. What'd you say about batterizer?
Jonathan says, I've read that the batterizer is falsifying their statistics,
Right.
like Volkswagen is, you know. So I remember the batterizer is that little device you put your battery in, and then you put it into the compartment of the electronic device that you want to power, and you're supposed to get more life, you know, more from the single charge. And he's saying that they're still falsifying their statistics. So I said we'd look into that.
I looked up on their website, and they really don't have a lot of science up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like if there is some kind of new age, new disruptive technology, there should be something somewhere in those papers that Ben Crossman, cannot understand.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing like that in there. They have a 2-page report that says, hey, we're a lab, we tested your stuff and it works. But there's no charts, no graphs, no no scientific method. Just, hey, lab, works, done. Like, that's it. So it's I wouldn't like, it probably adds a little bit, and I think for the $10 a pack that you're going to pay for it, I think it might be worth it. Even if it only gives you, because I think other sites have tested it and it only gives you about 20% of battery life, not like 600%. But for a reusable $10, might be worth it still, just to try it.
Okay.
But hey, before we get back to computer technology news, I wanted to do something.
Okay.
And that something is the reason I left for a second. But that something is, I'm going to do a Dick DiBartolo-esque kind of review.
Okay.
Of a product that was sent to us from the nice folks over at Nightstick.
Okay.
And Nightstick, if you don't know them, we got their pamphlet. They make wait 1 second, let me switch the camera over. There we go. Whatever.
Yeah,
they make flashlights. They make flashlights and really, really powerful LEDs and all that kind of stuff. Very, very bright stuff. And they sent us over, really forgetting the name of this particular
look at that. Okay. Yeah.
But it's a flashlight that has two. It has a as a flood part right here, and it has just a regular flashlight here. And let's turn this on. Obviously, extremely bright in terms of flood and all that good stuff. And then you have them both on at the same time. And it even has for easy storage or wherever you might need a magnet. It has a little magnet on. There we go. Little magnet on the back side.
It looks like the junior partner to this one here, which is the same thing. It has a larger set of and then has the flashlight part too. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And this one, I believe I looked it up. It costs like $15. Was not expensive at all. And I gotta say, for using 4 AAA batteries, it provides a shocking amount of light. So they were nice of us. They were nice enough to send us one, and to give a little mini review on the show, because we really don't have any other opportune time to do these kinds of things. Yeah, it's I think for the price, for $15, you're not going to get much better. This thing really is very, very capable, very extremely bright, and it's just tiny, easy to see, bright orange. So if you keep it in your garage or something, for an emergency situation, you really can't get much better. So thank you, Nightstick, and great product.
Very cool. All right. All right. So much for that's Ben's first mini review. And
hey, as we get things, we'll start bringing you these little mini reviews, and
sure,
just more content. Why not?
Why not? All right. This next story is from Engadget. Billy Steele wrote this. It's regarding the Apple Watch. Well, starting the 25th of September, which is one day before my birthday, all gifts to be sent to care of Computer America.
I'm sure.
T-Mobile will start selling the Apple Watch on the 25th of September. T-Mobile. Very cool. All right. Now, and there were rumblings about this, evidently. This is according to the author here, Billy Steele. He said it seems that the rumblings were in fact correct. T-Mobile will begin selling the Apple Watch this Friday, and it's also scheduled to hit shelves at Sprint. So as you might expect, Big Magenta is offering some 0 down and 0 interest options while supplies last, it seems, for 2 years to make Apple's wearable even more attractive. Okay, the payment plan only applies to the sport models, which are $349 and $399 for the bigger one, if purchased at full price. And when you do the math, that's $14.54 and $16.62 for 23 months, with the final payment for each going up a few cents. Now, if you prefer the pricier Apple Watch, you'll have to shell out the entire $600 to take one home. Full details on the available models and band options reside at the source that they list below. So there it is. You can now get the Apple Watch at T-Mobile, and evidently at Sprint too.
These exclusivity things, they're getting kind of annoying, and it's mostly Apple. Apple's making a lot of deals with HBO Now, with certain Apple Music things, with certain providers getting Apple products. Like, it all seems to be exclusivity around Apple. And I get it. They're hot. They're, they make great products. People want them. And exclusivity obviously is going to bring customers that they can then, that they're obviously leveraging their brand name, which there's something to be said for that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's getting a little annoying that everything Apple at some point is bottlenecked because in some way it's being exclusive with someone for the first month or two. Well, do you find that annoying?
No, I don't, because I like cutting edge stuff, and sometimes you have to pay a price for it to get it.
Well, it's not paying a price though. I think everyone would love to pay that price. It's only certain people on certain carriers can use it.
Well, that's it. But that'll continue to branch out. I mean, it's like the iPhone. You can only get it on 8.
I know, but it's just that waiting that you really don't have. The only reason is because someone made a backdoor deal that someone paid the other one a lot of money, and then they were the exclusive carrier for a little while. That's the part that's bugging me.
Well, it's like welcome to real life. Everything is the dollars and money, and if they can make some additional money, and it's their product. They can sell it any way they want.
I guess.
Mhm.
But I don't have to be happy about it.
That's right. That you don't.
All right, then. As long as we settle on that.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, next story is Angry Birds.
Okay.
You know them. Angry Birds 2. Not the rousing success Angry Birds 1 was, but hey, as far as a mobile game that should have had very little staying power, it has done amazing things. And it has printed money for the longest time. It has sold so many things, including toys, kitchenware utensils, towels, merchandise. And now there's the first trailer for the Angry Birds is out.
Aha.
Yes. So it's finally happening. The first trailer, and by the way, this is from Engadget and Mr. Edgar Alvarez, and it's finally happening. The first trailer for the Angry Birds movie has arrived. So directed by Clay Cadis and Fergal Riley, both first-time directors. So, a little risky. And written by John Vitti of The Simpsons fame. The animated film seems to focus on the original story of why these famous birds are well angry. Red, perhaps the most popular character, is voiced by Jason Sudeikis, while Danny McBride does the honors for Bomb, who is the big blackbird. And the rest of the cast is made up of other well-known stars, including Bill Hader, Josh Gad, Maya Rudolph, and Peter Dinklage, all great voice actors. Interestingly enough, the Angry Birds movie is now slated to hit theaters in May 2016, a couple months earlier than originally announced. So, if you were waiting on the edge of your seat to go see the Angry Birds movie, and I'm sure there has to be someone out there who was, go check out the trailer. It's out.
Yeah, exactly. For you movie fans, certainly. All right. This next story from BGR talks about, from Zach Epstein, writes a story. Huge iOS 9 security flaw lets anyone see how your photos and contacts without a pin. Without a pin. So basically, anybody can go in there and
see all your sorted pics.
All your information. It is now available and to anybody. So he goes on to say there's a way to stop it. And he says, there's a lot to love in Apple's newly released iOS 9. He had actually seen all the great new features, and there was 25 great hidden features that they talked about. And now the worst feature is a major security flaw. Now, according to Apple, more than 50% of iPhone and iPad users have already upgraded to iOS 9, which was released to the public just last week. So this coming weekend, millions more will take delivery of the new iPhone 6 and 6S handsets, which will also be running Apple's latest software. Okay. I think he means, 6S and 6S Plus. But anyway,
right.
All of these users are vulnerable to a simple hack made possible by a serious security flaw in iOS 9. And basically, they were contacted by this person who wanted to draw their attention to it, and they've been able to reproduce the resulting hack themselves on multiple iPhone 6 handsets. The security hole allows people to use Siri to access an iPhone owner's private data, and it is painfully easy to exploit. Basically, on any PIN-protected device, you enter an incorrect PIN 4 times, and on the 5th attempt, enter just 3 numbers. iOS locks for 1 minute after 5 incorrect PIN attempts, and then hold down the home button to bring up Siri as you enter the 4th. And as you can see, the security hole allows anyone to access all of the private photos on the device, as well as all their contacts. And this is all happening while the phone is still locked. So scary though this flaw may be, preventing it is quite simple. All you have to do is disable access to Siri while the phone is locked by opening the Settings app and tapping Touch ID and passcode. Then scroll to the Allow Access when locked selection and slide the toggle next to Siri to off. Siri is enabled by default on the lock screen, though, so most users are currently exposed. That's not a fix. Yes, it's a fix, but it's very inconvenient. I like the fact that I can just hold Siri and say, dial home. And even though the phone is locked, it'll dial home for me.
Right.
Turning that off prevents me from doing that. So in deference to putting myself at risk for giving up that feature, I'm not going to give up that feature. It's my hope that the next version of iOS 9 release will fix that problem. I'm sure it will, now that Apple knows about it.
All right.
That's it.
This won't net anyone, I think, that $1 million prize that one security firm has going. It's not exactly the 0-day exploit that they were going for, but at the same time, it's a nice little reminder that, hey, no cell phone is completely safe. So if you have something that you don't want seen, keep it really safe. And sometimes just inside a cell phone isn't even the safest place. So nice reminder for everyone. Now, this next story, next. There are so many, and we only have time for like one or two more.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to go with, all right, how about Pebble? Pebble? Yeah. Yes, Pebble.
They make nice
Pebble,
smartwatches, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were actually, I think, the first smartwatch.
Yeah, one of the first. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had a great Kickstarter. They were they raised like $10 million, some crazy amount. They did very, very well, but ever since then, they've kind of been lingering. Yes, they've been around, and people know of them, but they haven't been making huge strides. Though, that might all change with what they're cooking up now. So, Pebble goes circular with ultra-thin, time-round smartwatches, which is the company's newest timepiece favors svelte design over long battery life, which I think is okay. I mean, if you look at these things, and if you've ever seen a Pebble watch and said, man, they should not have fired their designer halfway through, then these watches might just appeal to you. Because, of the ones I'm looking at, they have very minimalist. They have one in very striking black, some feminine looking one. Like they have a nice selection of smartwatches. So, days after a mysterious timer appeared on the smartwatch maker Pebble's website, we now know that the company was counting down, and they have announced their first circular smartwatch, the Pebble Time Round, because up until this point, all their smartwatches had been rectangular, for the screen. So, after its edgeless design, the first notable characteristic of the new Pebble smartwatch is how thin it is. It's just 7.5 millimeters thick.
Yeah, it's really thin.
So that's very, very thin compared to the old Pebble watches. It's a much, well, I would say much larger, but the.
Oh, go ahead.
Right. So it's 7.5 millimeters thick, where the Apple Watch, for reference, is 10.5 millimeters thick. So about a quarter thinner than the Apple Watch. And the round face measures about 40 millimeters, and in another first, Pebble will sell a women's model, hooray, with a 14 millimeter band. So they said that the Pebble Time Round will support standard 20 millimeter watch bands, and the watch will be available black, white, rose gold, and many others. So unfortunately, there was a sacrifice. And that sacrifice comes in at battery life. So Pebble has traditionally been known for their long battery life. The Pebble Time Steel was built to last as long as 10 days before needing to be recharged. So unfortunately, the Time Round will have the newest Pebble interface. It will need about Pebble did throw Round will sport Pebble's newest interface. Many who rely on their smartwatch for regular schedule updates may find the shorter battery life a nuisance. Pebble did throw users a bone by adding a quick charging to the Time Round, which said to provide a day's worth of battery life in just 15 minutes of charging. So for anyone who doesn't charge their watch every single day, hopefully you can find 15 minutes to do it.
Now, it's not clear. Are those all different watch faces, or it only comes with the one watch face? And
those are all different makes and models. The watch face is, of course, a smartwatch, so the hands and everything, those will all switch over to an actual screen. But the make, like the black and the rose gold and the steel and that kind of thing, those are set as they are.
Right. No, I understand. But I'm saying the watch faces, then
The watch faces are all digital.
All digital, and you can change it. It's a very nice looking watch. There's no question about it.
Right.
And I like how thin it is too. The thinness is certainly attractive.
Very thin for a smartwatch.
Yeah, I don't like big clunky watches on my wrist, so that's appealing to have that. And it looks more like an actual watch. On first glance, people will probably not even notice it. That it's a digital watch of some sort.
Right, but it has all the perks of being a smartwatch on top of it.
Yep, very nice.
Pebble finally, I think I can say for the first time, I mean, the Pebble smartwatches as they've come out so far, they've been cool from a technology standpoint, they've been exciting from an innovation standpoint, but they have not been stylish, not really. And I think this is the first time Pebble is kind of showing me, at least, that, hey, they can be stylish. It's just, it's going to come at the cost of, at this time, battery life. For anyone looking to pick it up, by the way, the whole thing, the Pebble Time round, will cost $249, and pre-orders will begin today. Also at Best Buy and Target.
Yeah, a lot less expensive than the Apple Watch. No question.
$249 and again, that's a smartwatch, not just a regular watch.
It's an Android-only watch, right? It doesn't work with iOS.
Correct, I believe.
All right. Okay.
Yes, it's Android. Well, yeah. OEM-specific Android Wear.
Exactly. All right, we have time to maybe do another quick story here. Kids.
We got a couple minutes.
Kids prefer to play games on mobile devices over consoles.
Lies.
Who knew?
Liar.
Yeah. Well, this again, according to Engadget and John Fingus, he says that they've just recently reported that more 2 to 17-year-olds in the U.S. are playing games on phones and tablets than on consoles. This may not sound like a big gap, but there was only 2 years ago that the consoles captured 67% of young eyeballs, but now they're playing more on their mobile devices too, at an average of 6 hours per week. And sorry, PC gamers, your platform of choice isn't as popular as it once was. Computer gaming has fallen from a heady 67% adoption back in 2013 to 45% today. Anyway. The analysts don't have a firm explanation for the shifts, but they believe that this is most likely reflects the parents' own shift away from PCs and toward mobile gear. So when your folks are more likely to have a phone or tablet hanging around them than a speedy gaming desktop, you're going to play on those similar small screens. We add that the mobile tech has advantages for kids tired of fighting for time on the family computer or TV. Children can play Minecraft while the grown-ups check out Facebook and Netflix, and they're not stuck playing at home. While it's doubtful that consoles and PCs will fall completely out of favor among the younger crowd, they don't make as much sense as they did a few years ago. This again, according to Engadget. What do you think?
What do I think? I think that kids are definitely very mobile-driven because, hey, it's just easy. It may not seem like kids are busy, but kids are busy. They're going out, they're going to school, they're on the bus. They don't really have that much time to sit at home and play on a computer. And I think more and more parents, they're either doing, and I've heard of households that don't have a computer at all. They do all of their online researching through tablets, through smartphones and things like that. They're doing away with computers. So if anything, this is more in line with kids adopting mobile more easily than they would, and parents less willing to make the investment and get them a desktop or a console when, hey, you can get them a cell phone or a tablet with a service plan, and hey, that's going to be a $300-400 investment instead of a computer, which could be $500, $600, $700, and a console, which again could be 300-400 depending on what games you buy. I think money is the huge decider here, and at the end of the day, mobile is just cheaper, and kids, for better or for worse, that's just what they're getting access to.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. All right, well, listen, we're about finished with the computer news. We're coming into the second hour of the show, and we're going to kind of switch gears at this point, and we're going to be talking to Mark Baer, who is the Vice President of Research and Development for Reviversoft. They were purchased by Corel, if you're not aware of that, and basically they start out really on the Mac, and they branched out to the PC as well. But basically, they're ways of recapturing lost data and lost information on your computer, and if you have computer problems, this is a way to do that, and also to clean up your computer from the detritus and things that you'll find on a Mac and also on Windows. My understanding is that they're also going to be working with Windows 10, and we're going to be finding out more about that with, again, Mark Baer, who is the Vice President of Research and Development for Reviversoft. So that's all coming up in the second hour of the show. Of course, we're going to have we're going to continue on. We'll have another News Tistful review coming up as well. You're listening to the Computer America Show, and we will be right back after these just a few moments. We're not going to take a commercial break. We're just going to break for a station identification, and then we'll be right back. So stand by. This is the Computer America Show. Don't go anywhere.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we're continuing on in the second hour. If you missed any of the stories or the content, you can certainly listen to it again. We archive all of our shows at ComputerAmerica.com, the internet home of our national broadcast. Actually, global broadcast today, really. We didn't change the name of Computer America to Computer Universe or something, Computer World, but we are Computer America, although we're heard all over the place. And again, if you missed it, you could go to any of our go to our archives pull-down menu at ComputerAmerica.com. You can see all the places you can listen to it. Again, time shifted on Apple's iTunes. Carries it. We're on SoundCloud, and Stitcher carries the show, and so you can listen to it at your own leisure. Okay, so anything else you want to mention before we get our next hour guest on the show, Ben?
No. I think I think it was a good first hour. If you missed it, go and check it in our archives. But other than that, though, no. Let's get right into it.
Okay. Well, Reviversoft is here with us, and they were founded to provide trusted resources to help you repair or optimize, maintain your computer for optimum performance. They invest heavily in research and development to deliver the best possible products, professional instructional videos, how-to articles, informative blog posts, and other valuable content. In September of 2014, Corel acquired Reviversoft's useful and informative range of Windows and Mac utility software and resources. Joining us today is Mark Baer, Reviversoft's Vice President of Research and Development. Hey, Mark, how are you? Welcome into Computer America. Mark, you have to unmute yourself. I'm sorry. There you go.
Hi, Craig. How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Ben. How's it going?
Yeah, so welcome back. And
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been a while. But I think when you were, I don't think you had been acquired by Corel at the time.
No, I wasn't sure what title to use because I was the founder of Reviversoft, and yeah, last year, almost I guess 11 months ago now, we were purchased by Corel. So yeah, my new title is not founder; it's Vice President of Research and Development, which just is a very long title for someone who looks after what the software does and looks after all of the development and technology behind the company itself. So it's a very long title. I'm trying to think of a way to cut it down a little bit.
How about Mr. Big?
Mr. Big? I think my boss might have a problem with that one. I'm not sure.
All right,
That's okay.
Mr. Big 2 or something.
Yeah, Mr. Big Junior.
Exactly. There you go. So how did you become interested in helping people with their computer problems? How did that come about for a listener?
So I'm actually from a very rural place in Australia. If you can't tell that I'm not from America from my accent.
Really? No.
I'm from a farm. My parents had a 12,000-acre farm in Australia, and my father, no computer background, no education or anything, but he somehow became the kind of local computer repair guy for the area. We were 8 miles from a town of 500 people, so that's how small it was. It was a very small area. But if anyone had any problems with their computer, for some reason my dad was the guy that they called. So I kind of, from an early age, grew up around that and being used to, we had random people come over to our house and had computers set up on our table, and he was helping them out with their computer problems. So I guess it got ingrained in me from an early age. I always had a passion for computers, and then when I started my professional career, I actually started working for an Australian company that focused on security software, but I still had an interest in mainly fixing just typical problems people have, and when I got an opportunity to start a company, that was kind of the direction that we took. So it was just kind of a natural progression from an early age, I guess.
Wow. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around a 12,000-acre farm. That's
yeah, it's big. It's definitely bigger than your typical backyard.
Exactly.
There was plenty of time spent just kind of aimlessly riding motorcycles around, and it was a great way to grow up.
I would have gotten lost in such a big land, especially if it gets dark.
Let's see. Of all I know of Australia and Australian culture, you must have owned so many dingoes and kangaroos, I assume.
Not many dingoes. We had kangaroos, that's for sure. Whenever we had any visitors to the farm, they asked about kangaroos, and we'd take them, and you'd usually find a couple if you went for a drive.
Now, do you go back from time to time?
I do. I'm actually going back in 3 weeks. I have a 1-year-old daughter. She was born around the same time that Corel acquired us, so it's been a very crazy year for me personally, and I need to. My parents now are very, I guess, enforcing of trying to see her as much as possible. So yeah, I'm going back there in a few weeks to spend a little bit of time with them.
Yeah. So that sounds very nice. I've never been to Australia. My father went to Australia, but I have never been. So
yeah, I'd say if you go and travel down there, don't take a 1-year-old. It definitely ruins the flight, and the jet lag is a lot worse. So just try and fly by yourself if you can, or someone who's not 1-year-old.
Okay. So
good advice.
Okay, exactly. So, all right, Mark, if someone asks you, what are your top 2 things to fix an older or slower computer, what would your advice to them be?
Well, the main reason people have problems with their computers is because they install things, but never actually go through and clean them up and remove them. So the main problem that people have, and that it creates multiple problems, but it's that you've got old applications on your computer that you don't remove. So that affects 2 things. It affects the space that you have on your computer, and it affects how slow your computer is to start. So there's 2 things. If you want to keep the application that you have on your computer, but you don't necessarily want to use it all the time, there's an area of Windows where you can manage the applications that run at startup. And if you go into there and you take a look at all the applications that are set to run at startup, killing some of the ones or turning off some of the ones that you don't actually use every time you use your computer can really save you on waiting for your computer to start. And then the other thing is if you go into the control panel and go into the add remove applications area of the control panel, it's worth going in there every couple of months and just taking a look. Is there any applications that you have installed that you just don't use anymore? Because they very likely, as I said before, add an entry to your startup items, so that slows down your startup. They take over additional hard drive space you don't necessarily need to give up, and then they can also just be running in the background and taking up RAM and CPU. So that's, I guess, one thing, but it's has multiple impacts on multiple parts of your computer. And the other one is just a security application. Whenever I sit down on someone's computer, I quite often get handed them from friends, and people just like, just fix my computer, I can't be bothered doing it myself. I usually just go and take a quick look at what they're running for security, and usually it's like Norton 2006 or something, ridiculously old and bloated, and so I'd just recommend people just go and make sure that the one that they're using is recent and has been updated, and there's a lot of good applications out there now, and Norton is one of them. A lot of people kind of cringe when I say Norton because it's got this long history of being bloatware, but yeah, security and cleaning up your applications you have installed are the two major things.
Now, what about Mac people? I know you're talking about.
Oh, before you even do that, are you saying
Yeah.
are you saying there's something wrong with my browser? Because I got this going on.
Well, that's perfect as long as you like looking at web pages that are only 10 pixels tall.
Right.
Yeah, browser add-ons are a whole other thing. We actually launched a product a couple of months ago called Install Safe, which does browser add-on management, which I guess we can get to a little bit later. But yeah, that's a pretty funny image. I don't know if you can do that anymore. I know the earlier versions of Internet Explorer, people could quite often get 10 or 15 add-ons on their computer or extensions on their computer.
Browser toolbars, and then and you have like less than an inch for the actual screen.
Exactly.
It's amazing that people can live like that and not think of trying to remove them. And most of those had little crosses on them, so you can actually just quickly get rid of them. People just leave them running anyway.
We're notorious for being hard to remove. Some are very easy. Some though were you really had to go through some machinations.
That is true.
Now we're talking about Windows. Now what about Mac? Because I know your heritage with the Macintosh has been.
We did kind of both at the same time. I heard your intro before we got into the hour, and yeah, we definitely have a long-standing focus on Mac and PC. Kind of PC came very quickly after the Mac, but yeah, on the Mac, a lot of people think that the Macs are invincible, and historically, compared to Windows, that is kind of true. They run a lot nicer than Windows. They don't get kind of as bogged down as Windows does, but the same can be said for the Mac. So. A lot of people, I guess, when I look at someone's computer or a Mac that I'm given, I find that there's just so many applications running in the dock. I think a lot of people don't realize that the little light that's below an application icon is actually meaning that that application is running. And people don't go through and shut applications down they're not using, and they don't remove applications that they don't need anymore. And the Mac, it can be more efficient at managing multiple things running at the same time, but that doesn't mean that you should just keep everything running even if you're not using them. So I'd recommend going through and shutting down all those little lights, which you can do by just right-clicking on the application icon and just choosing to close it. So that's the main thing with the Mac. And then with the Mac, it's interesting. A lot of people have now issues with running out of hard drive space because a lot of the Macs in the recent history have been sold with solid-state hard drives, and solid-state hard drives are very expensive. So Apple, to make it cheaper, typically sold MacBooks that had smaller hard drives. It's like, I think the default option for the MacBook Air when it first came out was 64 gigabytes, and then 112 gigabytes is the next option up, and those two options aren't very big, so a lot of people have issues with hard drive space on Macs, and that's usually just comes down to having to make sure you actually keep your trash empty, and then you delete files you're not using. That's kind of the common problems we hear a lot from the Macs.
Well, now as a Mac user, I have a Mac myself, and I just recently updated to Yosemite, which is from Mountain Lion.
You can tell he's a Mac user because of the way you said it. I'm a Mac user.
I skipped over Mavericks and went right from Mountain Lion to Yosemite, and waited for Yosemite to really kind of mellow or season, make sure that it was good. But I do know, even before I did the update, I noticed that some things were bogging down. I used to be able to click on my Microsoft Word on the dock, and poof, it would be up there. Now it hesitates, and then it comes out, and it seems to be bogging down. And I know I have I have a couple of startup programs which I know from my preferences that are in there, but it seems to be slowing down a little bit. And I know one of the things I did with Reviversoft with the Mac version was to remove some of the fonts. There was a lot of fonts that I weren't using, and one of the nice things I like about it is that it for the Mac it gives you it backs up everything. So if you want to put it back the way it was before you did it, you can, which I think is a really nice feature, by the way.
Yeah, it's people are always skeptical when they're managing things that they might not fully understand. So the option to bring it back to the way it was is always really valuable.
So,
And then, yeah, you're right. Like the stuff you're talking about is, I guess, a great example is with languages. So most people on a Mac use just like one language. They use English or they use German or French, whatever their primary language is.
Right.
But the Mac and pretty much every application on the Mac is installed with multiple languages, and that takes up hard drive space. So I think in most cases it can take up 100 megabytes or 200 megabytes of hard drive space. So one of the features of Mac Reviver is to actually remove the additional languages from the OS so that you can have more space for music and files and things like that. Which is very useful for people.
Yeah, and I went ahead and did that. And that was nice, but it's still experiencing the sluggishness. You know, it's still not like it was when it was there. So what else can one do with the Mac version, and what are some of the things that you can do with it to help speed things up?
Well, we're releasing a new feature in the next version of Mac Reviver, which should be released, I think, in the next 2 weeks. I need to double check with the development team, but you guys are actually hearing about it first and before anybody else.
There you go. Listen to Computer America.
Computer Universe, right? Not Computer America. So we got a new feature that's coming out, which is a kind of a tweak manager, which helps clean out the cache files in Mac OS. So one of the things that, in theory, is built to make the Mac faster is a cache on all these different things. And for those people who aren't familiar with what a cache is, it's your browser has a cache, your OS has a cache, a lot of applications have a cache, and what that does is it stores things that are frequently used so that it's quicker to retrieve them from the cache than it is from wherever they get them from.
Yeah.
But with Mac, sometimes they build up this cache, it becomes massive, and it doesn't get cleared very often, and that can build up a lot of, which is it's funny because it should be making things faster, but as that gets bigger, it actually makes things slower. So we have a cache cleanup that's coming out in the newest version of Mac Reviver, and then really with the Mac, it comes down to the same thing: the applications that you're running. If you're running older versions of applications, and you're running a newer OS, maybe those old versions of the application don't support the new OS or weren't developed with the new OS in mind. They can have sluggish behavior. I know that every time I run Office on a Mac, it seems like there's an update. Almost weekly, there's a new version of Office for the Mac, and I think if you fall behind too far, Office can start to become very slow, and I think that can make a big impact on most of the time you spend on a Mac is usually in an Office document or in a browser. So if you're running old versions, it can definitely impact performance.
And by the way, for those of you, this is our international flavor. When he says cache, he's actually talking about cache.
Cache, sorry.
But that's that area that gets stored on your hard drive, and so it allows you to do things that are of a repetitive nature more quickly. But as you say, sometimes you don't have those applications anymore, or the cache gets dated. My understanding is that, especially with the modern operating system on OS 10, that cache that it's all supposedly supposed to be handled by the operating system itself. But
yeah, typically.
But you're saying typically that's not necessarily all the time. Now we're not
try to put the whole operating system essentially into cache.
Well, we're not talking about the cache now in the browser. A browser cache has its own.
No.
No, and you're right. It has gotten a lot better. And the cache cleanup is typically more of a power user feature too. Like, so people who understand how cache works have a desire to manually clear it because they know that an issue that they're having is kind of a cache-related issue. Cache, I should say cache, huh? Because it's Computer America. It's not Computer Australia or Computer Universe.
Uh-huh.
So they have a cache issue. But yeah, a lot of people who are more technical, they like to clear their cache. They like to kind of cleanse the RAM they're using, like clear the memory cache as well. So yeah, the OS is getting better and better, and we like to say, like with what we do, that Windows is way better than it used to be. Like compared to XP, Windows 10 is amazing. Mac's getting better and better, and we don't always think of ourselves like with what we do as fixing what Windows and with what Microsoft and Apple didn't do well in their OS. We try to help people with the problems that they've put onto their computer. So I like to think of, like, even myself, a lot of the issues that I might have with my computer or my phone, it's usually user error related. It's usually me installing too much or me not organizing my files properly, or it's me not deleting things when I should delete them. And that's the case with most people's computers. Is when you're using a computer over a span of 5 years, or after 5 years, there's a lot of crap on there that you kind of have just neglected because people just want to get in, do their work, and get out. So that's what we try and focus our attention on with the applications, and just with the resources we have on our website as well. It's kind of like what we like to encourage people to do, is to give your computer some love.
Makes complete sense, and that's of course on the Mac side. Mac has traditionally seems to have just fewer programs that support it. So why did you feel that you needed to come out something with Mac? Because I think part of it is that Mac, they are a minority, as much as Apple would like you not to believe. They're still 5-6% of the entire market. So why did you feel that Mac was worthy of, I guess, Mac Reviver? Yeah, so
you're right. As a global distribution, they do have single digits distribution. I think if you look at statistics of new computers sold, especially in America, Mac actually has got a much higher percentage of that than the global distribution, because the global distribution has a lot of legacy OS and a lot of computers in India where maybe Apple don't have great distribution, or other countries where Apple don't have great distribution, so that kind of skews the percentages. But if you look in the OS, in the US, I think if you look at laptops over $1,000, Apple dominates that market.
Right.
Vast majority of laptops sold at over $1,000 is sold by Apple. So looking at that as a statistic on how big they are, I think kind of skews it negatively towards Apple. And they do sell a lot of computers, and they do sell a lot of the newer computers that are sold today. And look, I think everyone deserves to have a tool to help kind of keep their technology optimized. We've wanted to do an Android app for a long time, but have always been kind of have found it difficult to get into that market just because of the amount of devices you need to support. Mm-hmm. And if we want to release a product, we want to release it well. And iOS, we haven't really ever been able to release a product there because Apple locked down their operating system so much, so we can't really create anything that's that useful there. Like, we can't help you delete files or look at files on your iPhone because Apple doesn't allow you to do it.
Right.
So it was just, we had some people asking us, people contacting us about the Mac, and we have friends that have Macs, and my wife has a Mac, and my business partner's wife had a Mac, and they're like, why are you guys running a company not making stuff for us? So it was nice to kind of cover at least the two major operating systems.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will really argue that Mac isn't an underserved population, and you're right. They do sell a lot of PC or a lot of high-end laptops, so it's nice to see that. So before we move off of Mac Reviver, let's talk about there's a free version, which go, and we highly recommend it. Go try it, absolutely free. But let's talk about the difference between free, what you get with that, and the registered version, and what goodies come with the registered version.
Yeah, so mainly in the registered version, there's a lot more tools for cleaning up hard drive space for your computer. So there's disk usage cleanup and cache cleanup, and the language cleanup that I was talking about. So a lot of those like disk cleanup tools are included in the registered version, but not in the free version. We need to charge something, otherwise we can't keep affording to do what we do.
Right.
But then the free version has a lot of great features. Like, there's a file shredder, so you can permanently delete files, which I know most people have a focus on privacy is really important to them. There's a file finder, so you can look for files. Like, you can go in there and search for files over a certain size. You can search for music files. You can search for any file type. You can search for files based on age. That's a really great feature for helping get rid of or look for files that potentially you don't want to have on your computer anymore. We have a duplicate file finder, so if you want to find duplicate files, which is a big problem with Macs actually, because of the way iTunes handles its music and the way iPhoto handles its photos, is that it usually creates its own library and duplicates the files.
Yes, that's so annoying.
It's a massive problem. So that's a really useful feature as well. And then with the paid version, we also have a feature called anti-theft, which is a feature that's offered in the Mac as well, and natively in the Mac. But it's nice to have it offered all in one place. Like we like to have all the features of our application we think cover a lot of the main functions that you'd want to do for maintenance on your Mac, and having anti-theft in that same location is very useful. So the idea behind that is if you were to have your Mac stolen, you can go into the Reviversoft website and log in and go into your account, and you can mark it as stolen, and then it takes screenshots and photos with the webcam and also geotags where your computer is, so you can try and track down where it is and find out who's actually stolen it. Whether you want to go and confront that person is a different story. But you can. There's been many stories in the press about people who've used tracking software and contacted the police and been able to get their computer recovered, and also you can just post pictures of them online if you want, because you have pictures of their face.
Right. I don't know how you crazy guys do it down there in Australia, but in the U.S. we pretty much recommend call the authorities. Don't go vigilante on us.
Don't go around to their house with a baseball bat. Just
exactly.
Give my Mac back. Exactly.
That's right.
What about things like malware?
For the Mac or for PC?
For the Mac. I'm kind of curious. With if you get malware, do you have using a Mac product? Will that?
We don't do any security with Mac Reviver. We have tools we recommend instead. So we typically recommend people use Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes just released a Mac product. I think it was 2 months ago now, and that's pretty good. A lot of people think they don't need security for the Mac. It's a mistake. You should definitely have some kind of security application. If anything, it's just so you don't send malicious files onto somebody else. So a lot of the security applications you have now available for the Mac will kind of do a scan of all the files in your computer. If you happen to send something on that may not be malicious or may not be able to affect your Mac, you send it on to someone who's got a PC or has another Mac that could be susceptible, you're effectively spreading a virus or spreading malware. You guys were talking about a vulnerability in iOS just a minute ago about seeing photos. People, iOS and Mac OS are getting to the point where they've got enough people using them that it's a target. So hackers will spend the time now to find vulnerabilities, and they're actively looking for hacks. They're trying to find ways to hack the Mac. So I think you're best to rely on the security experts and get some kind of tool that will just kind of do the work for you to make sure that you're getting protected.
Anything that you recommend, just out of curiosity? I know there are a number of them out there for the Mac. I think Avast has. That's one that I use, by the way, is Avast.
Yeah, Norton has one. I haven't used that one before, but Malwarebytes I have used. Malwarebytes is quite good. Avast is very good. With security, it's an interesting thing, because every month it'll change who the best security provider is.
Yes.
So that's difficult because you have to pay for 12 months. So I would always recommend that you go to somewhere like a PC Magazine or CNET or somewhere that does kind of roundup on a frequent basis, and just make sure that you're using one that's kind of consistently in the top 5, because it may move every month, but at least if you're in the top 5 all the time, the difference between the best application and the third application is usually not much. So I think you should always just make sure you're using one that's typically highly recommended.
Excellent advice. Then hopefully our listeners will. So basically, if you had to define how your website and your software helps people with their computer problems, not personal problems, obviously, but computer problems.
We can't help with personal problems, I don't think.
With computer problems,
no love advice, huh? That's interesting.
I don't know. You could. That's the biggest thing I guess the most obvious thing when you come to the Reviversoft website is a big search box that kind of asks how we can help you. And if you type in love advice, I'm not exactly sure what you'll find. I haven't searched that before, and I'm going to have to try and add some articles now to kind of cater to that audience.
Try. You might be surprised.
Maybe. There you go, Ben. You can keep yourself occupied. So look, the way we developed our site, and yes, we do sell software, and while it's definitely my interest to try and tell people to buy our software, we definitely want to encourage people just to utilize our free resources. Like the company was built to be a self-help and assisted help company. So we have a lot of content, we have a lot of videos. These are all free. We never ask for payment for any of this stuff. And we also have an answers section where you can go in and ask a question about your computer. You can ask a question about your love life, but the answer you're probably not you're going to get is probably not that great. Mm-hmm. So we just like to encourage people to come to the Reviversoft website if you've got any problem, computer related, and then hit the search box. So do a search for something. My computer is slow, or I'm getting this blue screen, or something like that, or you're getting a certain error message. Just type it in there. We have a lot of articles. We have hundreds and hundreds of articles that kind of help with specific problems. We also have the answer section, so that kind of is like our fallback plan. If you don't have something already, you can ask a question, and we have a bunch of computer experts on standby waiting to answer your question for you. So, and that's all free as well. So the idea of the software is that people who don't want to try and fix it themselves, we would recommend an application. You pay $30 for a year, and then the application will take care of it for you. You can set the application up to run on a schedule, and then that's kind of all taken care of, and you don't need to worry about it as much. But for those who just don't want to spend any money and just want to take care of it themselves, and they just want to educate themselves so that they can understand how best to use your computer, then there's a lot of resources there that you can make use of. Okay.
All right, Mark, we're coming up to the bottom of the hour break, and then Ben has another couple of questions for you. And but again, we're talking about now the two products are the Reviversoft and Mac Reviversoft, the Windows versus Reviversoft.
We have PC Reviver and Mac Reviver. Yeah, they're the two main applications on the Reviversoft website.
Exactly. Okay. All right. We're gonna take a little break, and then we'll come back. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to Mark Baer. He is Reviversoft's Vice President of Research and Development. We've got another news Sysball review coming up as well, and then we'll be right back. This is the Computer America Show. Stay with us. We're not going anywhere. You shouldn't be going anywhere either. Okay. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
And make it 350 for 25 minutes. Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, a 24-port gigabit switch from TrentNet with PoE+. That's a flavor of power over Ethernet. So the same cable the networks also powers that supports devices that need a little more power, but even better, it more tightly constrains the delivered voltage range, which can mean more operational stability. With 24 ports and a total 370-watt power allowance, It handles everything. One little bit of a bother with this unit is that taming that power supply in a 1U rack mount means it has a fan that sounds a little bit like a hairdryer motor, but that's a tiny trade-off. Bottom line, the TrendNet TPE TG240G 24-port PoE plus gigabit switch is a one-piece solution to 24 needs. Marty Winston with News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour, and we have Reviversoft here with us, Mr. Mark Baer, specifically, who is the VP of R&D over at Reviversoft. Saves a couple syllables there. And yeah, it's we're talking about all the products, and I believe one that we have not covered yet, though, is one that I think people kind of gloss over because they really don't know what it is and what it can do for them. But I'm actually surprised that this one wasn't rolled into one of your other programs. But this thing called Registry Reviver, and I do help my friends with their computers sometimes, and their registries are usually a mess because they've never even heard about cleaning it, fixing it, and all that kind of stuff. So what exactly is Registry Reviver, and why should people kind of care about it?
I should just say, first of all, there's no Mac version of this. Okay.
No, there's no Mac version. The Windows Registry is something that's only in Windows. So the Windows Registry, for those who don't know what it is, and I wouldn't expect people would have a reason to know, but it's an area of the Windows operating system where settings are stored for applications and for the operating system. And over time, that area of the computer becomes larger and larger, that has lots of entries in there for applications that have been previously uninstalled. Sometimes you can have areas of the registry that no longer are even valid. So for example, if you were to try and open a file extension where you don't have an associated program, that can cause errors, and you can have people trying to open things and they can't open them and they see errors. And that's usually caused by problems in the Windows registry. So this has been more of a problem with older versions of the operating system. Windows 8, Windows 10, those operating systems are much better at handling the Windows registry. But for those people who are on older versions of Windows, cleaning your registry is a critical part of just regular PC maintenance. So it's definitely a very useful tool, very easy to use. You download it, you click a button, presents all the results, and you click a button and it fixes them. So you don't have to really worry about it. You can set it up to schedule so that you can have it run once every week or every month. So it's a very useful tool. We do actually include it in our main product is PC Reviver, which is where we try and bundle all of our different tools. There is actually a registry cleaning function in PC Reviver in the repair section. So we have that. We have driver cleaning, driver updating. We have Windows updates. We have temporary file cleanup, along with a bunch of other tools. So if you're looking for something that's kind of like an all-in-one tool for just keeping your computer up to date, PC Reviver is definitely the best option for you. But if you're looking just specifically for just a registry cleaner, then Registry Reviver is definitely the way to go. Perfect.
All right, and real quick, I guess if people wanted to buy either one of these products, the one for the PC or the Mac or any of the others, your website, obviously, but is it found anywhere else?
You can find it on a few retailers online. Amazon sells our applications. You can get them. You can go to download.com and find the applications. The best place is just our website. It's always got the most recent version there. I think the difficult thing with software these days is there's mass distribution of software, and sometimes these places have older versions, and in order to get the most recent version, you just go to the website.
All right, Mark. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being here within the show. Again, Reviversoft, Mac Reviversoft, all the different products. You can find them at the website at reviversoft.com, reviversoft.com, or just go to computeramerica.com. We have the link to Reviversoft right there up on our homepage, and you can check out the website for yourself and download the items that you think would be of help to you. Listen, thanks again, Mark, for being with us here. And
thanks, guys.
And say hi to David DeVellis for me, will you?
Okay. Will do. Always a pleasure, guys. Have a great day.
All right, you take care. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so there you go. Reviversoft. Again, Mark Baer. And check it out. If you have a Mac, too, I have the product. It works extremely well. And certainly have it. Okay, well, I think we have time to do a little bit more computer and technology news. Just before we get to that, though, let me just mention to our listeners about our contests. We have our social media winner of the week, and all you have to do is just go under our interactive pull-down menu, and you'll see it says social media contests. It's the first item there, and you'll see all the different social media locations where Computer America participates, like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Google Plus and Pinterest. Just click on any of the links there, and it'll take you to our home on those social media sites. And then all you have to do is like it. For example, like the Facebook page, or subscribe to our YouTube feed. We have our own YouTube channel, or subscribe to the Twitter feed. Each time you do, that's an entry for you in our weekly social media contest. And when you do that, it counts forever. In other words, you just have to do it one time. So if you've gone to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, for example, now you have 3 entries every single week. That's how it works. Go to Pinterest, you get 4 entries every single week, and you only do it one time. And every Friday, we award a really nice prize from our good friends over at Logitech. Right now, the MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse is what we're giving away. This is a beautiful mouse valued at $80. And it has so many really features. It has their easy switch technology. It's a little button on the bottom of the mouse. You push that, up to 3 different devices can be controlled just by selecting the little switch there. It has the dark field technology, which means basically you can use it on glass surfaces. And it also uses with their Pico unifying receiver, or the Bluetooth smart wireless technology also built into this mouse, so it supports both technologies. Okay, it has a rechargeable battery. It has a whole range of features, and it looks really, really nice. It's an ambidextrous mouse. We strongly suggest to check it out. It's got the scrolling wheel, which is kind of their hyper fast scroll with their scrolling wheel. Check it out. We give it away every Friday. Register on our social media contest, and who knows, it might be your name that we're calling out as this Friday's winner. Okay. All right, so Ben and I are continuing to do computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And I think I did the last story. Do you want me to do the next one, or do you want to do it?
No, I'll do the next one. And let's see, I have to pull them back up here. But of course, one thing I did want to mention is, yes, still playing Destiny, and I have something that I think will be of curious interest to Craig, is that one of the main characters, like I never really honed in on the voice acting of video games until you hear someone that you know from somewhere else. And as much as I don't like it, one of the main characters in Destiny, the video game I'm playing, is what's his name? Nathan Fillion.
Oh yes, Nathan Fillion's in there.
Yeah, he's one of the main characters, and like the entire time I'm going through, and he's and like, because in this new expansion he gets a lot more dialogue, and you're actually, and like I'm sitting there listening to him, like, man, he sounds just like Nathan Fillion. What the heck? And I looked it up, and sure enough,
yeah,
they really have a star-studded voice acting.
His new series Castle just premiered, I think, last night or the night before.
Season premiere, right?
Season premiere, exactly.
Not series.
No, season premiere for the show Castle. And but he's an interesting guy, and it's interesting watching his work. And he'll I don't know if it's him, but the authors put in, he'll have little things that he'll say that are sort of for the people who are in the know. They'll get a chuckle out of it. Like, for example, one time his character Castle was visiting a sci-fi convention, and then his Kate Beckett, who is his detective who he works with, also the love interest of the series, makes a comment about about the series. He says, "No, I'm talking about the series, that science fiction stories, that a series that really counted, like Star Wars and Star Trek." And he said, and that Josh Whedon TV series,
Firefly, of course, is referencing.
Yeah, and that was the reference of it, and that's all he would do. And then there was, so if you knew about him, you immediately knew Josh Whedon was a Firefly.
Right.
He was complimenting himself. It's funny.
Right. So yeah, but that kind of takes us into this next story, which is from Ars Technica, and this is kind of interesting, where Ars Technica, Kyle Orland, and unionized video game voice actors are considering a strike.
Yeah.
Oh no. So some major game publishers may soon have trouble finding top-end talent to voice their characters if proposed strike by the Screen Actors Guild, AFTRA. I'm gonna have to look up what AFTRA is, but yeah. So it goes through. So since the sunset of a current contract at the end of 2014, the SAG-AFTRA, what we will be calling it from now on, Interactive Committee has been negotiating throughout the year for a new contract with publishers including EA, Activision, Disney, and Warner Brothers. Those are some big, big players in video games.
American Federation of Television and Radio Arts, by the way.
American Federation of TV and Radio Arts?
Television and Radio Artists.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's what that is. The union says those negotiations have come to a standstill in part over the proposed payout of quote-unquote back-end bonus for top-selling games. The bonus would pay residual royalties to voice actors on games that reach at least 2 million sales or online subscriptions, and scale up at every 2 million sale increments up to 8 million sales. So they have a quote here, quote, "The truth is back-end bonuses are not uncommon in the video game industry. Last year, Activision COO took home a bonus of $4 million. EA paid their executive chairman a bonus of $1.5 million, and we applaud their success, and we believe our talent our talent and contributions are worth a bonus payment as well." So it sounds like they're getting, they're also seeking additional stunt pay for performances that are vocally stressful, and to have stunt coordinators available when motion capture or movement is involved in the recording. The union wants to have some basic information about game projects before accepting an audition, and publishers often keep this information under wraps out of fear of leaks. So, let's say you have an action game and the main character is going to have to do voice acting where he's hit by an object, and obviously in the video game that might be a car flying through the air and hitting the voice actor, but or the character. Obviously they're not going to hit the voice actor with the car, I would hope not, but they still might have him do his line and push him into a wall or something like that. And you can't have exactly anyone do that. Like you can't have Betty White accept a role and find out that there's some action sequences, that there are some action sequences in there at a later date. So they want those exposed up front, even though there might be leaks. So yeah, and so before the strike can happen, 75% of the SAG-AFTRA voters would have to approve the action by October 5th. And if approved, strike members would be unable to work for any video game, and publishers would be unable to use any union in their current projects until a new contract is negotiated. So that could have a profound impact on the development timelines on current projects, as well as the quality of voice talent in upcoming games. So yeah, they claim that over 150,000 active members that they have 150,000 voice actors in film, TV, radio, and games. That would be awful.
Yeah, it would be.
You know what would be funny though?
What?
You know what would be downright hilarious? The funniest thing that could happen this year.
Yeah.
Would be this is strangely reminiscent of the Actors Guild that went on strike back in 2000 and I want to say like 10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when all those talents, the writers, all went on strike?
Oh yes, of course. It affected a lot of programming. Even the
Heroes.
Yeah,
Heroes went completely belly up because the writers went on strike and they could not meet their production deadline, and they just cut the whole thing. You know what would be the ultimate hilarity?
What?
If this went through and for some reason Heroes was canceled again because of another strike. Which could possibly happen.
Yeah, I guess it could. I don't know how hilarious it would be, but I was looking forward to the...
It would be sad, for people, but it would be the ultimate universal irony where these catastrophic events that only happen once every couple of years, supposedly, and it happens every time Heroes gets off the ground. I don't know.
Mm.
Weird. So both sides have agreed to a media blackout while voting continues, so we won't be hearing much about it. But a number of prominent voice actors and supporters have expressed solidarity on Twitter through a couple hashtags. And high-profile actors publicly supporting the strike include former Solid Snake voice actor David Hayter, who, again, he was in that new Angry Birds trailer. Mass Effect's female Shepard, Jennifer Hale, and Borderlands Tiny Tina voice actress Ashley Birch, and Metal Gear Solid Vamp voice actor Phil Lamar, and Will Wheaton has even shown support.
No, wait, what? They're calling him Firefly Online. So
that's a video game.
The video game, okay, yeah. We've had Will Wheaton on the show, so we ought to get him back on the program.
Oh, for sure.
It's been a while.
Well, yeah, but we can't ask him about this because obviously media blackout means, as members of the media blackout. But we would always love to have Will Wheaton back on the show. But as of right now, all those big names are throwing their support behind any kind of strike that would happen. So, yeah.
Did they mention Nathan Fillion in this article? They didn't.
No, they did not. But, they just rambled off a couple that does not. Like, these are just the people who have taken to social media in support of the strike. So, obviously this is not everyone. And if they get 75%, this could be a huge blow to the gaming community because we saw what the writing strike did to television programming. That brought television to a grinding halt. I mean, it was almost unwatchable there for a couple months.
The late night, even the late night talk shows. Late night,
we're scrambling.
Yeah.
But if this happens to video games, that's also not good. Then you get some like awful, like imagine Master Chief with like an awful voice. It's like no. No. So this would not be good if it goes through. But at the same time, I don't know the exact details, but hopefully they can reach a compromise between the two parties.
That's always a good thing,
right?
Because the consumers are the ones that get hurt.
Oh yeah, the consumers will get hurt, and a lot of great franchises that are coming out in the next couple of years will be put on hold. And when that happens, sometimes games that are put on hold become indefinite holds, and they never get made, which is just sad to see. So let's hope they reach a deal.
Let's hope. This next story here from Popular Science. This is kind of cool because obviously the upcoming Star Wars is going to be here, and the movies and everything. Evidently, Facebook and Oculus, Oculus being the virtual reality goggles that you put on, are bringing 360-degree videos to your news feeds.
This is like the third time we're talking about it in as many days.
Yeah, Facebook brought virtual reality company Oculus. They in March of 2014. They bought them, and now the world's largest social network is finally putting their VR acquisitions to use directly on its main product. Today, Facebook announced 360-degree videos, including initial videos from Star Wars and Vice News. The Star Wars Episode 7 Force Awakens video lets viewers speed the giant fallen Imperial Superstar Destroyer, while Vices takes viewers to current-day Afghanistan. Both contain environments that play just as important a role as the subject of the videos themselves. As virtual reality becomes more prominent in our everyday lives, we may see 360 videos play a larger part in consuming media on the web. So with 360 video, Facebook users are able to put themselves in the center of the action. On a desktop computer, you can click around the video with your cursor. On mobile, you can move your phone in real space to shift perspective in the video or drag the on-screen footage with your finger. With your phone or computer acting as a makeshift viewfinder, the solution is more affordable than investing in full-on virtual reality hardware like the upcoming Oculus Rift. Facebook's 360 video in the timeline may not convince users to go out and buy a Gear VR or other similar headset, but those who already own a virtual reality headset like the PlayStation VR or the Oculus Rift can load up Facebook for the effect on certain videos. And with all Facebook users able to upload 360 video, not just brands, we may soon see an influx of movable video content coming around. You know, we saw a little. We actually had a little demonstration of that when we had Kodak on the show the other night. You know, where they were in the jet, and
Right.
you literally pan around and watch. You were able to control the video by the motion of your mouse.
Yeah, they had quite a few. They had quite a few videos that would let you just kind of look around in real time, let you look at whatever you want to look at. These 360-degree videos, they're weird because, you know, they shoot everything. So they never. So like with a like traditionally, it's kind of like a picture on the wall. What you see is what you get. With a 360-degree, they shoot everything, so you can look at whatever you want. If you want to look behind you instead of, you know, directly in front of you, hey, that's your business, and you can do that. So they're weird experiences, and I wonder if they're going to catch on.
Well, the videos,
like the only thing I want to bring up about this is that 360-degree videos, they have zero chance of taking off on traditional televisions and monitors. There's no way to do that.
Yeah.
Like sure, they've worked out some kind of mechanism for, you know, taking your mouse and scrolling and that kind of thing. But think about movie theaters. Think about, you know, giant displays at you know, sporting events and things like that. Think about, you know, just televisions in living rooms. There is no way to get a 360-degree video on those screens. You have to have something attached to your face. You have to have some kind of input method. You have to have, you know, just something to be able to, you know, actively watch this thing.
This is very true. It's very true. The article goes on saying that videos that support the immersive video format are marked with a 360 video logo, making them easy to identify. So those interested in the nitty-gritty specs can find Facebook's officially supported formats on the link that's there, or you just go to the Facebook and find for yourself. The video that enables you to pan around can be had currently only on Android and desktop. iOS support of Facebook's 360-degree videos will arrive later on. Now, I wonder why they did that. Usually they bring out iOS first and then Facebook, Android. So, but they're coming out with Android support first.
Because Android, there are a lot more virtual reality devices. Like so far, virtual reality on Android, because Google has a huge vested interest in virtual reality. Android is very, very advanced in their support for virtual reality. So obviously they want to you know, go with that first because there's already a platform built around it. The Google Play Store actually already has some apps and videos for 3D stuff, which is great. Apple, I think they've expressed interest, but they don't really have anything for it. Like, I've never really heard of an Apple product yet for virtual reality.
No, except you know, the accelerometer in the iPhone itself, just, you know, moving around.
Yeah, but that's not, like, that's a nice little side effect. But again, that's not virtual reality technology. That's not a viewfinder. That's not, you know, nothing like that. So Android obviously miles ahead of Apple in this, and you know, Apple never really lags behind for long if something is worth getting into. So Apple will, I'm sure, come eventually.
I'm sure. All right. I don't know. Do we have time to do anything more? Last story?
I really don't think so. Let's see some of the stories that we did not go over.
Okay.
No Man's Sky, which is a new video game from Sony, is going to have a late night appearance on the Stephen Colbert Show.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's going to be Stephen Colbert's first attempt at a video game interview with actual gameplay and everything. So every other late night talk show host has segments where some of my first personal favorite are from Conan O'Brien. He does extremely funny video game reviews from the point of view of a person who does not play video games, and they're hilarious. And I believe Jimmy Fallon does one where he plays video games with his grandmother, and you know, also very funny. But yeah, Colbert will be doing that one. So if you've been looking forward to No Man's Sky, that will actually be the debut of gameplay. So very interesting there. Yeah, no. Spotify came out with a new mix title kind of thing. So you link it with your Facebook, you and your friends get together, and it actually makes a Spotify playlist based off of you and your friends' interests. Kind of cool.
That is neat.
And then probably the other thing that we should have covered, but we didn't, sorry folks, was that the massive government hacking that happened, it compromised all those government workers' personal files and medical data. Yeah, I think they actually stole somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 million fingerprints.
Wow.
So yeah, that's much, much larger than was initially thought. And it's kind of weird to think that, hey, a massive database of fingerprints has been stolen, and what one can do with that.
Yes, this is very true.
Who knows what you can do with fingerprints? I honestly, I have them, but I never really have to use them. So I don't know.
Except for Touch ID.
For Touch ID. But yeah.
90 seconds.
So yeah, and there are a couple others, but yeah, computer technology news.
All right. Well, that about wraps up the show. Again, thanks to Reviversoft for being here on the show, Mark Baer. And coming up on tomorrow night's show in the first hour, we're going to have a company called Stitch on the show. Stitch basically is a way to find companionship in all of its form, from love and romance that we think about, but travel companions, group activities, dinner dates, just
60
company.
seconds.
We're going to have the company's CEO on the show. And then in the second hour, we'll have more computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So about wraps it up. Thank you all for being here with us, and we will be here again same time, same place, same channel. And we'll be, yes, exactly. Again, thank you all so much for watching on our new time show, and we'll see you here tomorrow afternoon. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you then. Take care. Have a great evening.
Bye, everyone.
Ten seconds.
Okay, thank you all for watching today's show and here being on our Google Hangouts video screen. Thank you again for being with us on today's program, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow. So take care. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.